Hi everyone, today I am interviewing Russ. He is going to be talking to you about soldering, or soldering as some people refer to it as. When I came downstairs the other day, I knew he had been working on a project, but I did not know all of the equipment that something like soldering entailed.
Hi everybody, this is Russ. I am showing you guys a basic overview of what soldering entails, and this is the basic workstation of what soldering is and what all the tools you're needed to do soldering or soldering. I guess it's the pronunciation is not really all that important, just as long as you understand that we're going through the main thing is we all understand what we're doing. So soldering is the connection between two parts with what is called tin or solder wire. This is lead-based solder wire, which works the best. Lead is not poisonous unless you ingest it. Even if you solder something with lead in it, it does not get hot enough for it to be a poison substance. So just make sure if you're using lead-based solder that you wash your hands or wear gloves. The other key ingredient with solder is flux. Flux is a natural, it's a natural substance partially. So this is pure flux with sodium chloride. And those are two natural occurring substances in our environment. So one is pine tree stumps crushed up, and the other one is just a sodium-based chloride. So what is
Salt.
Salt.
That's a type of
so
salt.
It's you can actually see the salt crystals in this stuff.
I was just going to ask why it was shiny.
So that's the salt crystals, but combined together, when this pine is mashed up with the sodium, it's very intense and very can cause your skin to burn, can cause serious eye irritation, respiratory irritation. So you want to have proper ventilation, which I have. I have a fan behind me that pushes all the smoke or all the fumes that way. Plus I have a charcoal filter ventilation fan, so this absorbs all the fumes, because you don't want to just have that stuff in one corner or one area of the house, and then especially with animals in the house. Very conscious of that, and us.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely a good investment. This.
What's this blue box?
So that is the solder iron, and here's the solder iron itself.
So I want to stop you for a second because you explained a lot of things.
I did.
That were very. Will you pull that out again? Do you mind?
No.
That were really, like, you talked about how I just thought it was because of this getting so hot, the solder iron itself, that's what made soldering so dangerous. I didn't realize it was because of
The flux.
Yeah, because of the flux too. So this is really interesting.
But the flux is key. So without the flux, the solder wire does not bond well to the board.
Okay.
So it will not bond. It'll just be, you'll run into a hot mess. It'll be just all sporadic all over the place.
Okay.
I didn't realize that until I did some research on it, which makes sense.
Sure.
You know, you need something that's gonna make it all come together and connect. And this to me, this is how I think of it. This to me is like a magnet. This is like the negative and this is the positive. And then the board is like another positive, and you're taking that negative and bonding.
What's the board? What is that?
So the board is like the PVC board. So the computer.
So this is what you're soldering. This is
Yep.
what you're working on. And what is this?
This is a speaking digital clock. This is Tracy's Christmas gift, one of them.
It's past Christmas.
Yep, I'm a little late.
What are these gold rings right here?
So this is a cleaner. This is a just shredded brass, and it helps clean the solder tip when it's hot. You always want to make sure that your solder tip is tinned up like this. If it's not tinned, you run the risk of oxidation, so it'll oxidize and then it'll pretty much become useless.
So then you would have to get a new one or get a different one.
Which I have an abundance of. I mean, I go through
you have
tips.
different tips.
Yep,
Okay.
I go through tips
I
like.
was just gonna ask that, like how many tips will you go through working on this clock?
Oh my gosh, well, it just depends, and it depends on. There are different tips for different things. I'm just trying to figure
Can you
out.
pull some of the tips out?
Sure,
I'm curious
definitely,
as to because you said there's different tips for different things. So
Yep. There's,
what, like the small tip? What is
so
the small tip?
this is a small tip. This is small flat. Well, it used to be kind of flat. You can kind of see the flat. See it? It's kind of got that raised.
Yep.
This like 90-degree slant to it.
Sure.
And then the hardest thing is getting with these small holes, getting a small tip to heat up correctly, and then getting that tip directly on there to heat up perfectly for a couple of seconds, and then be able to lay that solder in there.
Now, when I'm looking at that, that is so teeny tiny and small.
It is.
And then I look at this other thing that I called the blue monster when I saw it before. What is this thing? And is this thing I noticed has a lens on it over there?
Yep.
Do you have to use the lens then?
This is
what
called,
is this?
actually, I've been finding that it helps, but this is called helping hands.
Okay.
So this is the crazy octopus of things, all right? This is Dr. Octopus. And this thing it's awesome. It's got a magnetic base, 6 arms, 2 which are used for, one's got a light attached to it,
Wow,
just like that.
And so, because that's so small, then you put the light on. That's really cool.
And you can, the light actually zooms in. I have a zoom on it. And then this comes around. This is pretty cool because it does.
Like a scientist contraption.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's.
How come I don't have one of these?
Well, you kind of do now. I mean,
I know,
these things are cheap.
I didn't even know you had this down here.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
I said, I came downstairs
buy
and
this
was
thing
like,
for-
what is this
You
thing?
can buy this thing for like $20 on Amazon.
So it's called a what again?
Helping Hands.
Helping Hand.
And then I have more Helping Hands right here
I was
on
going to
this.
say, what I've noticed is there's 2 more
Right here on
of the grips on there.
Yep. The one thing that is kind of upsetting though, and not that they really care, but these Helping Hands, they only twist in to place. And
So they don't twist out?
well, they don't click. There
Okay.
should just
Oh,
be
I
a
see.
pop in,
Yep.
click, because when you're moving things around, things tend to, if you go right, you're tightening, but if you go left, you're loosening, so things tend to, come out, and then I'm trying to anyways, that's a whole other story.
Very cool. So how long is it going to take you to do the clock, do you think?
Well, I'm almost done, actually. I should probably be done, I think I have a couple more steps and that's it.
How long ago did you start it?
I think like maybe a couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, I think maybe 2.5 weeks. It feels a lot longer just because it's been every day.
Yeah.
And it's only been little by little, and there's a lot of trial and error and a lot of, anytime you're learning something new, trial and error, but also a lot of frustration and a lot of like not giving up, but just stopping for the day, knowing where your threshold is, understanding your limit, not getting upset, just stepping away from it. If you ever get upset, it's natural. That's the natural learning curve.
Right. That's so important that you're talking about that to students, because I think that's so important, because sometimes school is really hard, and when you're learning something new, it's really hard.
Absolutely.
I mean, my students understand it, and I understand it because I'm a student too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard with...
We're all
with anyone.
learners.
Exactly.
Yep.
You never stop learning until the day you die. That's it.
Well, thank you so much for letting us come into your workspace and learning about what you're working on and all of the tools and equipment that it takes, because like I said, I had no idea until I came downstairs and discovered what was going on.
Yeah, of course.
So thanks so much, Russ. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.